Do you ever sit down and do one simple task, and then 3 hours have passed and literally nothing has gotten done? You sit down with the full intention to do the work, you care about it, you have ideas, and then you start scrolling through your notes. A text comes in, somebody calls you. You realize, oh wait, I'm hungry. You suddenly start to feel a little overwhelmed because you haven't gotten around to cleaning the room that you're working in and you just want to declutter. You said, oh, let me reward myself with social media for just a moment, and then you just sat there staring at the screen and not actually completing the task. However, it tends to unfold for you, and whatever emotions or overwhelm might be underlying it, task paralysis is really painful for people who have ADHD. For example, a neurotypical brain may realize, oh, I need to reply to this email, and they just do it. We say, oh, I need to reply to this email, but then we stop and we say, when should I send it? What should I say? What if I need to include this? Maybe I should start this other thing first so I have the answer to answer them in the email more appropriately. Maybe there's something else I should do before this because there's something else that's kind of a fire that I need to put out right now. But then you get stuck because you're overthinking all of it. And then you're already overwhelmed and there's too much noise around you, and then you just want to scream and cry and quit. I literally procrastinated outlining this video to shoot it because of ADHD paralysis. My ADHD paralysis video was delayed by ADHD paralysis, go figure. Do you ever sit down and do one simple task, and then 3 hours have passed and literally nothing has gotten done? You open your laptop, you had a snack, you checked your email, somebody called you, and then you stared at the wall for 20 minutes and now it's like midnight and you're feeling a little bit sorry for yourself? Well, that's ADHD paralysis. One of the biggest lies that society tells people who are ADHD is that we're lazy, because from the outside it looks like we're doing nothing. But on the inside, all that's happening is a giant traffic jam in our brain. I literally procrastinated outlining this video to shoot it because of ADHD paralysis. My ADHD paralysis video was delayed by ADHD paralysis, go figure. That's how real this is. But what do? It's usually not that you need more motivation. It's usually that you need a different environment or a different routine to get you started and get you stopped at the right times. If I had $1 for every time I sat down to do something that I really wanted to do, that I was motivated to do, that I kind of had a plan for, and then one thing led to another, and I just couldn't do it for a number of reasons. You sit down with the full intention to do the work, you care about it, you have ideas, and then you start scrolling through your notes. A text comes in, somebody calls you. You realize, oh wait, I'm hungry. You suddenly start to feel a little overwhelmed because you haven't gotten around to cleaning the room that you're working in, and you just want to declutter before you can sit down and zen out and do this thing. You said, oh, let me reward myself with social media for just a moment, and then you just sat there staring at the screen and not actually completing the task. However, it tends to unfold for you, and whatever emotions or overwhelm might be underlying it, task paralysis is really painful for people who have ADHD. It often leads you to that time blindness thing. You don't realize how much time has gone by and you kind of feel frozen. And oftentimes, the reason that you can't start is that there's just overwhelm from too many possibilities of either ideas, or you don't know what to prioritize first. And so it all has equal priority and you feel locked because you can't choose where to start. However it all unfolds for you, what ends up happening is those feelings of shame and guilt about not being able to get things done and not understanding why this is such a problem for you. And then just feeling burnt out because this is maybe your third day in a row of this, not getting anything done. I've been there and it hurts. Hey there, what's up? My name's Ash. I'm a life coach and I help people going through big life transitions, finding their purpose, and building a life that's more aligned with their values. I also help people who are ADHD and on the spectrum find their purpose, find their flow, and live a life that is more aligned with who they are and how they function. So if either of those things sound like you, if you're going through it in life, if you're going through the spiritual awakening, if you're trying to figure out how to fit your neurodiversity more into your life, if any of that applies to you, you're in the right place. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. I put out new content every week. And if you're ADHD or on the spectrum, I've got a free ebook for you. It's called the Neuro Navigator, and it helps you with all kinds of daily things to help you understand yourself better and do better, function better. So if you're interested, The link is in the description. So what is ADHD paralysis? It's when your brain struggles to initiate, prioritize, organize, or sustain action, even when you genuinely want to do the thing. It's not laziness, it's not lack of intelligence, it's not lack of ambition. It's just kind of a nervous system and executive function bottleneck of ideas, of emotions, of feelings. And you struggle to prioritize and figure out a way forward. And task paralysis can come from a few different angles. One is just task initiation in general. You know what you need to do, but you just can't start. One is based on decision making. There's too many decisions to make, and you can't make one, so you don't. And then you're stuck there, you're locked up. And it can come from perfectionism, actually. You feel like if I can't do it perfectly, you avoid it because you want to internally process and plan that until it seems perfect in your head. And boy, oh boy, have I been victim to that one before. Not vocalizing things I should, not taking action on things I should when I should, all because I was working on it, but all in here. And then it can come from a place of overwhelm. Everything feels equally important to you, so just nothing gets done. You don't know where to start. And then it can also come from a place of burnout. And your nervous system is basically saying, cool, I'm glad you have all these tasks you want to do, but I need to shut down because you can't hack it right now. And that is a sad but true defense mechanism that we have built in. ADHD can affect your task initiation, your working memory, your prioritization, your emotional regulation, and your nervous system regulation, sustaining attention and switching between tasks. And if you're autistic or otherwise neurodivergent, dysregulation can amplify all of this. It's not that the task isn't simple. Your brain may recognize it as simple, but your nervous system recognizes it as friction against whatever you're working with right now. For example, a neurotypical brain may realize, oh, I need to reply to this email, and they just do it. We say, oh, I need to reply to this email, but then we stop and we say, when should I send it? What should I say? What if I need to include this? Maybe I should start this other thing first so I have the answer to answer them in the email more appropriately. Maybe there's something else I should do before this because there's something else that's kind of a fire that I need to put out right now. But then you get stuck because you're overthinking all of it. And then you're already overwhelmed and there's too much noise around you. And then you just want to scream and cry and quit. Again, the problem isn't really capability. It's your ability to access that easier flow state that many people often do. When it all boils down, ADHD brains are very environment dependent. Is there clutter? Is the lighting right? Is there too much noise? How many unfinished tasks? How many notifications are there? There might be visual chaos all around, distracting you. There might be the social pressure. Maybe you're working a 9 to 5 and, you've got to try to keep up with neurotypical people and at a pace and schedule that is not really adaptive to you. Maybe the seating is uncomfortable. Maybe the temperature in the room is too hot, too cold, it's too much for you. Maybe now you've realized that you're hungry, and maybe you aren't able to move enough at your desk. If you're naturally a fidget, you've got to be able to fidget a little bit to get through the day. Imagine if your brain were running, like a phone, 27 extra apps in the background that most people aren't running. Eventually the phone battery is going to drain, and also drain with it the one app that you were supposed to be working on in the first place. So it's like that. When I went to outline this video, I knew what I wanted to talk about. I had the topic, I had a basic outline, I had ChatGPT help it organize it for me, and then I was sitting there adding notes to it, and I just kept getting distracted. And, first I was like, oh, I need a snack or something, so I went to get a snack. And then I came back, and then something happened on my phone, and so I was distracted by that. And then, of course, a friend called, and she never shuts up, so we were on the phone for like an hour. And then I was like, well, shit, it's time for dinner now. And then I barely got the thing done before I went to bed last night. And I was supposed to do a whole other video outline after that. Well, that got pushed to today because I was too tired and it was too late. It is what it is. But that's just another day. That's just another example of how, it doesn't take much for people like us to get ourselves a bit off track. It's just another everyday example of how even when you're motivated, even when you've got pretty much all the pieces together, it might take you too long, perhaps, to tie some of those things together, longer than you'd like at least. And I know so many of you experience things just like this. So what can we do to improve it, is the question. Sometimes it's visual simplification that can help you. For example, if you're supposed to be working on one task, choose the one task, and then put it in a whole new window. Let's say if you're on your computer, that it's the only tab open. Only keep one thing in front of you at a time. That way there aren't distractions. Maybe using darker or minimal backgrounds on your computer, on your desk, whatever. Take 5 minutes, clean off the top of your desk. Get that space decluttered. That way you can clear your thoughts too. It does help. Make that one task you're trying to do the easiest thing to see, to reach, to get to, and without visual or sound clutter. Also, try to take some of the pressure out of beginning the task by not preparing to do the task, but preparing to start the task. For example, have that document out and already open. If you're going to the gym, lay those gym clothes out before it's time to get ready. If it's time to brush your teeth soon, pull your toothbrush out and set it somewhere visible. Have you been forgetting to hydrate lately? Cool. Pre-fill your water bottle and set it in front of the door so you can't leave without hitting it. Have a checklist with small individual parts of each task written out beforehand. That way when you do start, you've got very digestible little pieces to work on at a time. That's huge. Let's talk about how you use your time, because that's probably the most important aspect of this that can really help you do much better, much faster. There's what they call Pomodoro, or time chunking. It's when you basically spread your time out into little digestible pieces of work. Usually you would do 15 to 25 minutes working time, followed by about 5 minutes rest time in between. I don't care if you do 10 to 15 minutes of work at a time, followed by a 5-minute break. Just do it. Doing that is better than doing literally nothing for half the day. You can also do what they call body doubling. Usually it's when you have somebody else sit with you, not have them do the task with you, not have them like talk to you, but have them, I don't know, just sit there and like parallel play or whatever, be present. But because it keeps you present, you're like, oh, there's somebody else here and I'm doing this thing. And maybe if they're kind and you get off track, they can say, hey, what are you doing? Better get it back on track, The goal here isn't productivity perfection. It's just getting the ball rolling and reducing resistance, building some consistency. And that's really the key with anything in life, is just building consistency. Let's talk about, what do you do before you start a task? Something I've read a lot about recently, that there's research to support it, and that I've tried doing myself and implementing with my clients to much success, is a little pre-launch ritual, meaning before you're about to start a task. I always grew up thinking that the thing at the end that you did was a reward and it was meant to help you do the thing, motivate you to do the thing. It didn't not motivate me to do the thing, but it didn't really help me start that process, if that makes sense. So what a lot of people with ADHD or otherwise have attention issues do is they start a task with some sort of reward. Maybe it's a tea or a coffee. Maybe it's a little snack. Maybe it's putting on, I don't know, your fuzzy slippers or your whatever's comfy for you, your favorite sweater, maybe it's listening to a playlist that you like while you work. Whatever it may be, do it. Maybe it's a stretch, maybe it's a breathing exercise. Or maybe you save some of that stuff for your next little break after you've done like the first chunk of time. Pick the things that you want to do in between tasks so that you aren't unmotivated to keep working, because there's something for you in between each and every work chunk. This helps you teach your nervous system that like, we're in focus mode now. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. But it also gives you those little dopamine rewards that you're always craving. And I would combine this with my next point, which is dopamine pairing. So ADHD brains are interest driven. So you've got to go with what you know and like a lot of times. And I guess same for people with autism. We know what we like and we like to engage with it. So maybe your favorite drink. Maybe you need to listen to some instrumental music. I find that if I listen to music that I really like to sing along to, it's usually kind of a bad idea for me, because then I might get a little distracted by the music. So I like to put on music that I really like, but it's not stuff that I feel super tempted to sing along with and keep up with. It's just good background for me. Yeah, so I have playlists that are kind of more geared towards that I use for workflow. So whenever I'm here working on the computer, if I'm cleaning the house, I can listen to more enjoyable music, right? Because I'm jamming out while I do it. But if I'm trying to edit video or do something where I'm typing a lot, I'm thinking a little too much to be also trying to sing. And I can do it because ADHD and multitasking sometimes, but it has scattershot results, as I'm sure you've found out by this point. And whatever your sensory needs are too, don't forget about that. So comfy clothes. Don't wear things uncomfortable when you have to do a task that you already don't like. Don't make it harder on yourself, people. Come on. Just be happy in any way that you can when you have to do the stuff that is less desirable for your brain. because that's the stuff that's the hardest to do. Neurotypical people, they complain about doing things that they don't like to do, but it's not as hard to do as it is for us. So remember, it's not just about discipline, it's really about having enough dopamine to like get across the finish line or the starting line. So what happens when you are still feeling a little bit stuck? If it's been like 15, 20 minutes and you're not making any progress, stop what you're doing real quick. Take a walk, fold your laundry, get some sunlight, get some cold water on your face, stretch, do a breathing exercise, do a little sensory reset of some kind that you like. Maybe organize one tiny area, particularly the area that you're working in. But set a timer so that you don't do that ADHD thing where you say, oh, well, now that I've cleaned this one thing, I think I'm going to tear apart this whole entire room, finish 50% of it, and then rage quit because I've spent way too much time on it. Don't do that. Set a timer, set multiple timers so that you have annoyed yourself so much that you will actually stop and complete the one small part of the task and then move on. Please do set timers for that, because the worst thing you could do is tear apart the whole room, get almost nothing done, and then quit and not even return to the task that you wanted to do in the first place. It really sucks when that happens, so let's try to avoid that by using timers to be our friend, to bring us back to the present, to remind us, hey, this was supposed to be a temporary reset. We're not doing the whole day doing this. And then finally, if you're stuck doing the task that you thought was going to be easy for you, or the one that you're really trying to do, go get a dopamine hit of a quick win. Meaning, what is that 5 to 10 minute task that you could easily do, that maybe wasn't your top priority today, but is a priority? Get it done real quick, because that little like, oh, I can accomplish something, it helps motivate you to say, okay, what's next? And then maybe you can return to that more daunting task. Do it with a reward, start yourself off right, and try to get back into it. Momentum creates momentum. Doesn't have to be the same kind of momentum, but momentum helps. And going back to the timers thing, we need to externalize our memory, because we're living in the moment in our head and doing things in the moment. And as previously discussed, we can be blind to time. We can be blind to what's going on around us. We can be blind to the fact that, oh shit, there were like 8 other things I was supposed to do today, if we get stuck on the one thing. So things like alarms, sticky notes. Some people will do like the most random shit to remind them to do a task. They'll throw like a random object in the middle of the room. That way, when they get up to walk and stare at it, they're going to be like, why is that there? They're going to be like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do that thing. I can't personally trust myself enough to do that, because I'll be like, why is that thing there? I don't know. And I'll just keep walking because I'll forget why I put it there. To each their own on that one. But I like good old fashioned alarms. They also have these visual timers that I don't have one actually. I should get one just to try it out and see if I like it. And I do recommend them to people though who struggle with just regular alarms. They're kind of like a pie chart representation of time. So the timer's going and you're seeing like red and green kind of like disappear, so you understand like how much time you really have left in a very visual way. So if you kind of need more visual stuff and you're not a little bit old fashioned like I am with my iPhone clock, then yeah, give it a try. Use your calendar. Your calendar is your friend. Even if you don't put like every single little thing in your calendar, some people I think can go overdo it and then overwhelm themselves with the number of mini tasks that they've put in their calendar. I just try to chunk my time so that like I put the time when I write in the description the time that the event actually starts, or I create a separate block that's like, I need drive time to get to here for this appointment that is at this time. So I am reminded of when I need to leave at 30, 20, and 10 minutes. I've had clients who thought they were lazy for years, but it turns out they just really needed some different routines. They needed to think about their time differently. They needed to work on their environment and help declutter their life a little bit to stay more focused and stay engaged. But it all does work. Are you ever going to be magically a neurotypical person who can just go task to task to task without thinking about it? No, probably not. But follow 8 simple rules that apply to you and help you specifically, and you can do a hell of a lot better. And honestly, I get that being neurodiverse can be a drag sometimes, but at the same time, we have gifts that others don't. And I have other videos on this, but the more you can lean into those things that really bring you joy and don't feel like a daunting task to start, the more you'll find happiness in life. So to bring it all together, your environment is either supporting your nervous system or draining it. It's up to you to figure that out. What in your space creates friction? What distracts you? What overstimulates you? And what helps you feel calm, focused? And how could you make starting tasks easier by 10+%? Paralysis, like it or not, is information, and it's telling you what's not working most of the time. Don't bombard yourself with shame over that. Bombard yourself with support for it to help you break free and get to a better flow state. So this week, don't try to just magically become someone different overnight. Start with one habit. Just change one thing. One visual cue, one timer, one ritual, one decluttering task, or one reset habit, and watch what happens. Make one change at a time and watch your productivity get so much more consistent. I hope this helps. Happy whatever day it is. Until next time, peace.